In today's class, we're going to discuss about policies and procedures. Later down the line, we are going to discuss about firewalls, what are different types of firewalls which have been used. Along with that, we are going to discuss about vulnerability assessment, pen testing, incident response, cyber skill chain framework, social engineering attack, and about the malware as well. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go one by one and let's look into this. What are these things? Okay. So the first topic is about the policies and procedures. Okay, now in information security industry, policies and procedure refers to the documents that describe how your business is running. Okay, so we are setting up the policies, we are setting up the guidelines, we are setting up that particular guideline not only for an organization, for an employees as well. Okay, so we have personal policies. Okay, we have security, group policies, we have onboarding policies, okay, we have admin, root account policies, and goes on. Okay, so let me give you a quick detail about this, an overview about this. What are these policies? Now, in personal policies, what do we have? We have separation of duties as well. Now, what is a separation of duties? So, in every team, we have different privileges. For example, I'm working into an red team. Okay. Now, in this team, there will be a team lead as well. Correct. And that team lead will be having certain privileges to his account, so he can access some of the account. For example, some of the database where he can store all the information. Okay. Now that team lead is been reporting to some of the managers, the higher management. Now that manager will be having some particular this privileges to his account. So he can use that particular account, he can use that particular database where he can store the details, where he can operate all the information. Okay. Now again, his ID will be having some different this policy access, and the team lead ID will be having different policies access. Again, now that manager is been reporting some of the CISO. Let's take an example. Okay. Now that CISO will be having different account access, isn't it? He will be having certain policies for his account. So he can operate, he can look into all those accounts. Now, what is the agenda behind this? Everyone has their own access as per their job profile, isn't it? No one will having all the privileges. What we are doing, we are breaking the things into a task, into small chunks. So no one can misuse their power. That's the reason we haven't policies into the picture to maintain the guidelines of an organization to achieve the specific goal. Okay. Then again, we have a least privileged policies as well. For example, there is an intern in my organization. 5 interns have been joined. Now, I won't be giving all the access to their account. I won't be giving the access what the VAPT team has been having. I cannot rely on to that. What I will be doing, I will be giving sufficient amount of privileges to their account. So there will be no misuse of their account. Again, what if they are not having much in depth about and security? If they click into any malicious link and they are having some of the privileges to their account, anyone can misuse that, isn't it? So we have a least privileges as well. We have a separation of duties as well. Now, security group policies. Now, Security group policies, it is a group-based privileges, you can say, where what we will be doing, we will be providing an individual privileges. Okay, we will be creating a group, we will be managing them. Okay, for example, in an organization there are 500 employees. Okay, 100 employees are working into a security domain. 50 employees have been working into, let's say, accounts domain. Okay, 150 employees have been working into sales domain. Okay, 100 employees have been working into, let's say, HR and support domain. Okay, and rest of the employees have been working as a management. Now, what we will be doing over here, we will be creating a group. Okay, in that group, we are giving some of the privileges. This group can have an read and write privileges. This group can have a read privileges. This group can have a read, write, and executive privileges. This group can have a, let's suppose, read privileges. Okay, so I will be adding the read privileges into this. Okay, and inside this group, I will be adding all those employees whose ID have been mapped only to read that particular domain. Okay, again, I will be adding that read and write to privileges people into this group. Again, I will be adding read, write, and executable privileges people in this group. So what I'm doing, I'm maintaining all the things. I'm maintaining all the records. If there is any particular audit down the line into an organization, so easily I can have an access over from here, which user is having which privileges. Okay, whether if I am going and giving privileges to each and every individual, it will be again a challenging task for me, isn't it? So what we have done, we have created a group and we can give that user inside that group. That is your security group based privileges. Okay, now again we have an onboarding policies. Let's suppose I joined into a new organization that is a security organization. Now in onboarding policies, again there will be a certain rules for it. Okay, now in that rule what they will be asking me, first they will be verifying all the details. After that they will be checking if there is any criminal record of this particular individual. And why I'm telling this, because we are working in the security domain. Company does not want that I had been related to any malicious thing down the line. Yeah, whether if I had performed any particular attack into any particular organization, they want to be very much secure, isn't it? Okay, along with that, in an onboarding policies, we have been provided with an asset. Okay, so everything has been cross verified at the first step. Okay, now next what we have is your admin root account. Okay, now in admin root account, what we have a policies for it. We have a policies for an administrator. Okay, now let's suppose if you are a super user or an admin user. Okay, so we haven't particular all the privileges to the super user, isn't it? Again, if I am a normal user, I will be having a limited access, limited privileges. Okay, now this privileges is been derived about my as per the given job profile. Okay, that means the activity that the admin is doing, again, normal user cannot perform that activity, isn't it? Now, while performing an auditing, what generally happens during this phase, what we generally create one more account and give some of the admin privileges to their account, to that particular new created account, and from there we can perform an audit, because again that account has been holding all the privileges, so we can monitor it, we can have it. Okay, we can have all the credential policies, we can easily perform the task. Okay, now let's say administrator account has been named as an admin. Okay, and we created two more account by the same name. Now most privileges account will be your admin account. So if we are going to check which is an original account which has been maintaining the non-repudiation, from which we can easily perform an audit. Okay, so we are going to check the privileges. Okay, so we have a default security group as well. We mostly use in Windows or Linux. Okay, in that what we have a default set of permissions where we can create new user. In Windows we assign particularly a local group account like your guest account. Okay, in Linux we can also do that. Okay, so for example, if you want to create a user in a Linux, so let me give you a quick overview about in Linux, how we can give any particular privileges into an Linux. Let me quickly power on my machine. Okay, so first, as of now, I am a normal user. Okay, so what I will be doing, I will be claiming for an access. I will be doing a privilege escalation from a normal user to a root user. Okay, so for that, what we are going to do, we are going for a super user account. Okay, now let's suppose I want to add a new user into this account and I want to give some of the admin privileges to that particular user. So first let me go ahead and create a new user. To create a new user, we can go with the command user add followed by the username. Let's say username is in master class. Okay, now my particular user has been created. Okay, now where this user has been created, this user has been created inside your home directory. Okay, now if you want to check whether my user has been created or not, so we have an account for it. So for that, it has been stored inside your passwd file. So if you want to open that file, so we are going to cat out the command, and that file has been stored inside your etc drive. Inside the etc drive, there is a file by the name passwd. Okay, now always remember passwd will never gonna show or never gonna save any particular password inside it. Okay, passwd will gonna save your user detail. Cat is for capture. Okay, now can you see? root user. Along with that, the user which I have created. Okay, that means new user has been created, but yeah, that user is not having any particular root access. Now, in Linux, always remember group ID and this user ID. This is your group ID, this is your user ID. If the group ID is 0 and user ID is 0, that means it's an root user. Okay, and in Windows, the group ID and user ID, if it is an 500, that means it's an admin. Okay, and if the ID is starting with an 1000, that means it's an normal user. Okay, now I want to make this user from a normal user to a root user. So what I will be doing first, I will be going inside this etc drive, or you can say etc directory. We call it as a directory. Okay, now inside this directory, what do we have? We have n number of files and other directories. Now to check that particular file and directory, we go with an ls command, list all command. Okay, so now can you see which particular file I had opened as of now? It's an PASSWD. The file has been sitting somewhere over here. Can you see PASSWD? This file is storing your user detail. Okay, now there is one more file by the name of an sudoers. You can see over here. Okay, now what this particular file is been storing? This particular file is been storing all your root user detail. Again, if you want to create any particular user as, or if you want to give all the root access to any particular user, you can add that user into the sudoers list. Okay, again, what we are going to do, we are going to add that user inside this. Why we are doing that? Because we want to create, we want to give him all the privileges, root access privileges to that user. What was the user? Master class, which we have created. Okay, so let's go ahead, try to open that file and let's add that particular list into it. Okay, now let me show you first what is there inside this file. So by a cat command, we can see what is there inside that file. Cat followed by the sudoers, the file name. It is going to show you what is there inside that file. Here it is. Can you see? Root user has been sitting over here. Now that root user is having all the privileges. There is one more user by the name of Suraj has been sitting over here. He's also having all the privileges. Now what we are going to do? We are going to add our user over here and we are going to give him all the privileges. Okay. Now how we are going to do that? We are going to open that file with an editor. So inside Linux, we have an editor by the name of an nano. Okay. Now, nano followed by the file name, straight away it is going to open that editor so we can modify it. As it is, open the terminal for me. Now what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to add my user over here. So let's suppose, let me first remove this. And what must my username? Master class. And what privileges I want to give him? All the privileges. So we are going to go with the same statement which is been given above. Okay. So let's go ahead and save this particular file. Done. If you want to see whether it's been updated, again, let's go with an cat command. It's been updated. Okay. Now what I've done, I had added our user into this particular file and asked that particular sudo to give him all the privileges. Master class has been also holding all the privileges. That is your root has been holding. No, it's not. If you remember, when I opened up this terminal at the beginning, during that time, what we have done at this moment, if you remember, we have claimed for the privileges. We have gone from a normal user to a root user, isn't it? By sudo su command. And after going with this command, he asked a password for that account. Did he ask me any particular password? No, isn't it? From a normal user to a root user. The work is halfway it's been done as of now. So now we are going to create a password for that account. First, we are going to check whether this particular user got privileges or not. So first we are going to go with followed by our username. Okay, let's go ahead and check which user I am. The who am I command will be telling you which user you are. So I am a master class user. Okay, great. Now, can you see? I just gone with the command sudo su. It is asking for a password now. Now I haven't created a password for this particular user. So now what we are going to do, we are going to give an password. We are going to create a password for that user. Okay. So to create a password, we will go with a command first sudo su. Now we are going to add the password for the user which we want to create a admin. Okay. Now new password. He is asking me to set a new password. Retype the new password. Password has been updated. Who am I? A root user. What I have done? I am a root user. Now that is how you give the privileges from a normal user to a root user inside your Linux machine. So what I have done, I simply created a new user, and after that I had given him all the access. I have raised his privileges from a normal user to a root user. The policies are being changed. The privileges are being changed. Okay, privileges have been escalated from a normal user to a root user. Now he can perform. Now he can do all the things what a root user can do. He have all those rights. So this is how you give some of the privileges inside your Linux. Why particularly we are giving the security policies? What are the goals behind it? to maintain an outline for the management and administrative for network security. Okay, so we are giving all the security policies, so our architecture should be secured. Okay, to protect an organization from computing resources, to eliminate legal liability arising from an employee or from a third party. Let's suppose I am an employee inside an organization. Okay, I am having certain privileges to my account. Okay, now again, what if I visited to a website, let's say facebook.com. Okay, now that particular website is been easily accessible inside my organization. Now someone connected over there and tried to send me a message. Now inside that message there is a malicious link. If we click into the link, straight away malware will get deployed into the system, isn't it? Now what we have to do, we have to secure our environment from such kind of process to be happened. So what we are going to do, in many organizations you have seen, social media access is simply prohibited. You cannot access the social media account. You cannot access some of the message sending account. Okay, you cannot access any particularly this private network account. Okay, so what we are doing over there, we are simply creating some of the rules. Okay, and who has been creating that? Your network admin team has been creating that rule. So what they are doing, they are simply editing your host file. Inside your host file, they are giving that this particular website should not be accessible straight away. That website, along with some of the IP which is not getting resolved, we are going to update it and straight away. Again, I had taken some services. My organization has taken some services from, let's say, XYZ organization. Okay, we are using this XYZ application. Now, what if this application is vulnerable? Now, this particular vulnerable application can lead a damage to my organization, isn't it? Now, from here, it can lead to a damage to this organization as well. What if there is some vulnerability inside this network of an XYZ organization? Now, from here, attacker attack into this organization, he will try to get inside this organization, isn't it? So for that also we create certain rules, we create certain policies. If you want to if you want to use our particular network, it should be tunneled. A VPN has been provided. Along with that, we are using certain privileges, we are using certain policies for it. Okay. Now, along with that, what we have, we prevent from unauthorized modification of an data. Let's suppose something has been sent to you, some document has been sent to you. Now the document has been holding some of the hashes, which is maintaining the integrity. Okay. If the hash has been changed, that means some tamper has been done for that particular file. So now you remember why the security pillars have been very much important. CIA trade, maintaining the security rules. On that rule, we have been deploying our security. Okay. Now, again, this goals and security, reducing the risk causing by illegal use of your system resource. Differentiate the user access right. What I've said, user access, to whom we can give the access, what that particular user can access. We have a limited access. We can raise that particular user access from a normal user to a root user. So we are giving the right to the user. Okay, now each user has been holding some of the access. So we are not giving all the access to that user. So there will be no misuse from his account. Okay, along with that, protect confidential proprietary information from theft, from misuse, or from an unauthorized disclosure. Whatever data has been sent, that data should be protected. Okay, if you're sending anything inside an organization to other employees, that particular data should be sent into internally through the network, through an private network. What if an attacker has been sitting into the network? He can simply have an access to it, isn't it? So for that particular network, what we are doing, we are giving certain rules, we are setting up certain policies, we are having multiple firewall. Along with that, IDS has been installed. Along with that, some of the policies have been given. Only this only this particular network should be allowed. Okay, our organization has been sitting into this network. There is the IP starting with an class P IP. The IP range is starting from this to this. Only this IP range, only this IP can access this network. Apart from that, no one will access it. If anything has been trying to access it, there will be an alert generated. And that security team will be, a SOC team will be monitoring it. Okay, the firewall team will be monitoring it. Okay, so that's why we are having a goals for the security policies. Along with this, we have multiple other policies which we can set on. That would also again depend to an organization to organization, what they have been working on, what they have been using on. So we can set up a policy for it. Okay. Now, if you remember, yesterday we were been discussing about a weak host configuration as well. Okay. Now, weak host configuration refers configuration setting that decreases the security of an asset such as your computer network. Let's suppose router has been installed into your home. Again, that router has been having an admin. Admin as a username, admin as a password. Again, that admin comes with an default ID and password. Insecure default setting. Rely on manufacturer default setting when deployed an application on software application. That is your weak host configuration. Always try to remember whenever you install such networks of this hardware, always try to change the user ID and password. Anyone can take an advantage. What if you haven't changed the ID and password? One fine day, someone has been traveling by, he looked into the network, he found out that there is one particular open network. He tried to go with an default ID and password. Straight away, he is inside the network and he can see what all devices are also connected inside this network, and he can take an advantage. Okay, unsecure root account, or you can say unsecure root account, a vulnerability takeover due to the poor security configuration such as weak password, allowing remote login or unroot. Many times, what we generally do, we just go with an this particular default password. Many times, what I have seen, people generally do, if they want to set a password for their Wi-Fi, they go with 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0, or else they go by the name, or else they go by any particular name. Let's suppose city name, let's suppose any particular character, which can be easily guessable. Not only that, do you know we have an dictionary inside our Linux, default password cracking dictionary. In that dictionary, we have a list of an password, default password. If I want to perform an attack, straight away I will be running the dictionary and will be having the password. That is, again, unsecure root account password. Okay, so always try to remember, don't go by this default username, don't go by this simple, easy, guessable password. Again, for an password, there are certain criteria. Go with an at least 8 digit, with an uppercase, with an lowercase, with an special character, and with a number. At least have this 4 details inside your password. It will be a difficult challenge for anyone to attack into this, to have into this, to use this particular password. Okay, so start using it. If you have any particular default password, ID password, try to change it. Okay, now third one is your open permission. Open permission is what? It is a type of a weak configuration. Again, where the principle of least privileges is been based and the access to a data application isn't properly restricted to only those particular account. Let's suppose there is an hacker, okay, and he attacked into one system. Now that system, that user is a normal user privileges. Okay, now this system, this user has been sitting into an organization. He is not having all the privileges. Now what the hacker need? He wants certain account where he can have an access to all the system, or else he want to have an access to the database. But this particular user is a normal user. He is having a limited access. He is not having all the access. Now what this hacker has been doing? From this user, he will try to attack either into an root user, either into an another user. So if he attacked into an another user, so we call it as a privilege escalation. Again, he attacked into this user, the admin user, horizontal privilege escalation. He is claiming for it. He is claiming for escalating his privileges from a normal user to an root user. What I did when I particularly want to use that, when I particularly want to run that command inside an Kali, from a normal user to a root user, I escalated my privileges. Same way over here, attacker, what he is going to do? From a normal user to a root user, he is going to escalate that particular privileges. He is going to attack that particular user. Once he have that particular access, now he can look inside the database. Okay. Next, what we have is your weak network configuration. Okay. Now, weak network configuration is what are the vulnerability which can arise from running unnecessary service or using weak encryption. The weak network configuration has been sitting into an open port and services, unsecure protocol, weak encryption. Okay. So, what is an open port and service? Open port and service can cause to an particularly into a security problem. For example, let's suppose I have built a website. Okay, now this particular website is been hosted on port number 80. Port number 80 means HTTP. Okay, the website will be something like this: HTTP double dot double slash dot abcd dot com. Okay, it's been running on port number 80. We are going to go ahead with a certificate. Okay, so digital certificate is going to secure it. Now, if this particular website is unsecure, what is going to happen? All the data is been traveling from into a plain text format. Whatever we have been putting inside it, it's going inside in plain text format. So if there is any attacker has been sitting over here, he can simply capture all the detail. Okay, so that's why we use the digital certificate, which is securing this particular network, securing this particular website. Along with that, keys are being used, your public key and your private key, which are used to encrypt and decrypt the data. So how your particular data will be going? your data will be going into this format. First, it is going to encrypt the data into an unreadable format. Along with that, it is going to attach the hash. Along with that, this particular data will attach with an private key and the public key of the receiver and private key of the sender. Okay, once the data has been arrived, once the data has been received, first it is going to decrypt this particular data with its own public key. After that, he is going to decrypt this data with the private key. After that, he is going to decrypt this particular message, this particular data into a readable format. After that, he is going to convert that particular message into an hash, and he is going to verify the both the hash, so it is maintaining your integrity and the data has been sent. Okay. Unsecure protocol. Unsecure protocol is one of the transfer data as in clear text. Again, what I said. Unsecure protocol. Port number 80. Data has been sending into a clean text format. Anyone can have an access to it. Now to secure that particular port, to secure that particular website, we go with an port number 443. HTTPS secured one. If the encryption has been weak, again algorithm has been weak, there is a flaw inside your algorithm, anyone can have an data, anyone can have an access to that particular details. Okay, now that is your weak host configuration. Okay, now next thing we are going to discuss about a firewall. Now a firewall is what? It's a network security device that monitor and filter all the outgoing and incoming traffic from a network. Again, inside an organization, we can set up multiple firewalls. Okay, so when it comes to a firewall, it starts with a simple packet filter firewall. So let me give you some of the introduction about some of the firewall. Okay, now again, in packet filter firewall, what we are going to do, we are simply filtering the packet. Okay, now when I'm saying a packet looks like your IP and port number. Layer number 3, network layer. We're gonna put this inside your network layer. Okay, now inside this we can set up different rule. You can set up different rule onto the basis of the IP and the port number. Okay, now what we have done, as the things have been evolving, we have evolved or we have changed this particular from a packet filtering firewall to a circuit level gateway firewall. Okay, so as this particular firewall has been working with your session layer on your OSI model and to a transport layer of your TCP IP model. Okay, now what it does, now it is particularly determines the particular session, that which session should be allowed. Okay, let's say if you have requested for any particular website, for example, I want to visit InfosecTrain website. Okay, now your request will go inside a proxy in somewhere between. Now that proxy will decide whether the request should go to InfosecTrain or not, or whether you are getting a particular error message. That means you are not allowed to browse this particular website inside your company network. Okay, so moreover, all the requests that has been leaving from your system, now that request is going where? That request is going inside an proxy. Okay, now from a particular internet, all the requests will always originate from an proxy. Again, this particular circuit level gateway firewall, it's not very much enough to maintain our security posture. So what we have done, we have moved or we have started using application layer firewall. Now I can see what all application traffic has been received, what all application traffic has been going on. Okay, so now when I'm saying application traffic, that means the protocol like your FTP, Telnet, HTTP, HTTPS, all the traffic will be checked whether it is proper or not. That one is your application layer firewall. When I'm talking about a firewall, firewall is what? How your firewalls has been stated. You know there are two types of a firewall. Okay, so we have a hardware-based firewall and we have a software-based firewall. Hardware-based firewall means it's a standalone device. Okay, the device which has been placed onto the perimeter of the network. Software-based firewalls, which means what? It is a software program need to be installed inside your system, just like an autonomous software. When we are talking about this firewall application, host-based firewall, now we have certain limitation within firewall as well. Talk about some of the limitation as well. What limitation have been coming with this firewall? Okay, so firewall will never prevent you from a virus. Okay, along with that, if there is any particular social engineering attack has been happened, firewall will never prevent you from that as well. If you are using any particular user ID and password, for example, that by ID and password has been leaked. Okay. Now, again, misuse of an password, firewall will never going to prevent you from that as well. Okay. So what we have done to add more security into the picture, we had started using IDS and IPS. Intrusion detection system, intrusion preventing system. Okay, so due to this limitation, we had moved from to an IDS and IPS. So intrusion detection system is something what it is going to inspect all the inbound and outbound network traffic into an suspicious pattern. Okay, now if it detects something, it is going to alarm that user. It is going to generate an alert to that user or to that particular administrator. It has a capability not only particularly detecting, again to intrude that as well. Okay, but it is not going to prevent you. That's why we have an IPS, intrusion preventing system. So this IPS, what is going to do? If any malicious thing has been arrived into a network, it is going to generate an alert. Apart from that, it is going to give the resolution as well. Straight away, it is going to take an action. Okay, it is going to block that particular network. Okay, now how this particular IDS or IPS have been working? They have been working on to a signature. Now let's suppose our system does not understand the language which we have been talking and which we have been writing. Okay, they only understand the binary language. Okay, now for each and everything we have this kind of signature. Okay, so let's suppose I want to download any particular PDF. Now for this PDF, we have having a signature. That signature by can be anything 725A. Okay, so what I will be doing, I will be adding this rule inside an firewall that 725A file should be blocked. Okay, if anyone is trying to download or if anyone trying to open this particular PDF file straight away, firewall will gonna check on that. Someone is trying to download 725A files straight away. Block this thing. No one can have an access to it. If anyone is trying to download or if anyone trying to this install any particular application with an exe, again that have an signature, straight away block it. Many hacker, what they are doing nowadays, they are sending this exe file while performing a social engineering attack into the link. If that particular link, if you click into the link straight away, something get downloads into your system, and if you double click on it, straight away it get installed into your system. So now what our IDS and IPS can do, if we set and rule into an IDS and IPS that 45A should be blocked, straight away nothing will get installed into your system. You cannot use that particular link. So that's why we started using IDS and IPS to give an extra layer of security to the network. Now, next thing what we have is your vulnerability assessment. Okay, now what this vulnerability assessment has been telling us, vulnerability assessment is an in-depth examination of an ability of a system or an application, including current security procedures, controls, and withstand the exploitation. Okay, so what we are doing into an vulnerability assessment, let's suppose I need to perform a VA for my organization. Now I will be having some scope. For example, IP has been provided. Now what I will be doing, I will be start a scan into this IP. Okay, and why I'm doing that? To check is there any particular security weakness or not? To recognize, to measure, to classify any security vulnerability into that computer system or into the network or into a communication channel. Okay, so first I am going to scan that particular IP. After that, I will going to check whether there any open port or not. Let's suppose I found one particular open port number 80, that is your STTP. Okay, now I'm going to check which service they have been using, that is your HTTP. Now which service version they have been using, 25.2 XYZ. Okay, now after that what I'm going to do, a vulnerability assessment may use to identify that could be exploitable. Now I am going to identify what are the services they have been using and I am going to try to perform an exploit. If there is any weakness, okay, great, awesome. I am going to try to exploit that particular weakness. Okay, but there is one catch over here. We are not going to exploit it. What we are doing? We are performing a vulnerability assessment, not a pen test. There are certain criteria for it. Okay. Now, vulnerability assessment is being done in 3 steps. Step number 1, footprinting, information gathering, or you can say reconnaissance. Okay. Step number 2, we are going to perform a scan. And step number 3, we are going to perform an enumeration. Okay, first I'm going to collect an information, all the detailed information. Once I have the information, now I'm going to scan that particular network, whether there any particular open port or not into this network. After that, whether what are the services they have been using. Okay, after that, we are going to collect more detailed information. That's what we are doing over here in enumeration. We are going to connect with that particular port. From that port, we are going to check, is there any particular weakness or flaw in that service in that particular port. We will try to communicate with that port. Once we have that weakness, that particular flaw, we are not going to exploit that vulnerability. We are going to find out the vulnerability. That's it. Till here, only step 3. Then who is going to perform that? Who is going to enumerate? Who is going to exploit that particular vulnerability? Pen testing team. Okay, so a pen testing is an authorized simulating attack performed onto your system computer to evaluate its security. Pen tester use the same tool, technique, process as an attacker to find and demonstrate the business, to find and check the weakness or a flaw. Okay, now this pen tester, who are those? Those are your authorized person. Those are your authorized hacker, those who have the technique to find out the weakness into the system, and they are going to exploit that weakness. Okay, how that is been done? Again in 3 steps. Step number 1, verify a threat. Okay, in this what we do? We do footprinting and scanning. Step number 2, over here, we are going to bypass the security control. Okay, in this we are going to bypass the firewall and we are going to attack it. Step number 3, what we are going to over here? We are going to actively test the security control. Okay, we are going to create error. We are going to check what is an error. We are going to check, is there any particular weak password or not? This is what your pen tester do. They are going to exploit that particular vulnerability. Okay, find the weakness into the system, determine the robustness of the control, provide the qualitative and quantitative example of occurring security and particular bug onto the particular the budget prioritized by the management. Yes, vulnerability assessment is same as your ethical hacking. Okay, so generally in many organization we see there are 2 profile. One is of your VA, one is of your PT, and in the many organization we see there is a profile by the VAPT itself. That is a vulnerability assessment and to pen tester. In many organization we are being different team, separate team. One is doing a vulnerability assessment, one is doing a pen testing, and along with that we have a red team as well. Okay, so everyone has been helping each other. The task, the work is same. Over here, they are not going to enumerate, they are not going to exploit that vulnerability. They are only finding the vulnerability. They are going to exploit it. They are going to attack into this. They are going to take an advantage of that vulnerability. That is your VPT does. Again, in VAPT, we perform all the 5 steps. information gathering, scanning, enumeration, hacking. All the things have been done over here. All the things which has been merging your VAPT. Both the things has been done over here. In red team also, both the things have been done over here. Along with that, they perform other testing as well. For example, in our organization, we have a red team. Actively, they are going to perform the red team exercise inside an organization. They are going to penetrate not into the network, into the physical security environment as well. They are going to send malicious mail inside the network to check all the people have been having about all the people have been updated with their security knowledge or not. Okay. Now, pen testing has been done into three steps, into three types, you can say. We have black box, gray box, and white box. Now, what is a black box testing? No worries. Let me tell you about that. Now, what the black box testing over here? Over here, what we are getting no information. Let's suppose in my organization, they asked me to perform a pen test. Okay. What they did, they only told that you need to perform a pen test into XYZ organization, the name of that organization. That's it. Apart from that, no other knowledge, no other information. Collect the information, check in which network they have been sitting, check what are the IP they have been using, try to attack into that network, collect an information, try to see if there is any particular vulnerability or not. Okay, so in black box, we don't have any knowledge about the target. In gray box, we are having some knowledge about the target. For example, the name XYZ, along with that, the IP address. Okay, along with that, there is, let's suppose 10 IP has been given. You need to perform a pen test into this 10 IP. Along with that, 5 IP belongs to, let's say, to one system. 2 IP belong to web server. Okay, 1 IP belongs to an firewall, and 1 IP belongs to, let's suppose 2 IP belong to a website. That's it. Apart from this, no information. So over here, we have some information about the target and we are going to perform a pen test. And white box, we will be having complete information about the target. Name, IP. Along with that, we have 10 IP. 5 IP belongs to particular file system. 2 IP belongs to web server. 1 to the firewall. 2 to the website. Along with that, in that website, we have unique pages where the information are getting stored. We have 5 unique pages. Inside this web server, with this web server belongs to which particular domain? Firewall. Which particular firewall they have been using? System. The information of that system as well. So we have full knowledge about the target, complete information of the target, then we are going to perform our pen test. Okay, it's not an vulnerability assessment, it's a pen test. All the things from step number 1 to step number 5, all the steps. Okay. So we have black box, zero knowledge, gray box, some knowledge, white box, full knowledge. So next what we have is your incident. Now incident is what? Again, a security event that compromises the confidentiality, integrity, and availability for an informational asset. Okay, so what are we doing? We are maintaining the CI thread, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And what they are doing in confidentiality, what we do? Okay, your encryption, your confidentiality has been compromised, availability. Availability we use in hash. Again, it's been compromised. Incident has been happened. Loss has been happened. Okay, so we have an incident response to it, the mitigation of violation of your security policies, the recommendation practices. So if there is any particular incident, response has been capable. So what we can do, we can detect that incident. We can minimize the loss of the destruction. Along with that, we can mitigate the weakness that has been exploited. We can restore our computer service. Let's suppose attack has been happened into my organization. So what I will be doing after that? I will be checking how this particular incident has been happened. What was the weakness? What was the flaw? What was the vulnerability? If I have the information, after that, what I will be doing? I will be minimizing the loss. Let's suppose still I am going through an attack, still into that phase. I will try to stop that attack. There are 50 systems into my organization. Someone is trying to attack into my network. Already 15 devices been compromised. Now what I'm going to do? Straight away I will be removing all the 13 device, 12 device from the network. I am going to isolate all the device. Now what are the chances? Straight away the attacker, I had stopped that attacker. Okay. Now what I will be doing? Once the device has been isolated, I will try to protect it. I will try to protect my network as well. First, going to check is there any particular vulnerability or is there any particular malware has been sent by that attacker into the live environment, into the live system. Once that has been done, pen test will be performed. After that, into all the isolated device, I will try to check is there any particular malware. After that, I will check what are the security rules they have been using. I will try to upgrade my security rules. I will try to give some more good policies, some more security policies as well. I will try to mitigate the weakness and the particular exploit where that particular exploit has been happened. After that, I am going to restore all my computer service, bringing back all the device onto the line because I don't want to face the downtime. Okay, already I am facing going through an particular loss. I cannot bear some more loss. Okay, so simply we're going to restore all the computer system. We have incident response lifecycle. Okay, now this incident response, how the incident has been happened, we have a life cycle for it. Now who has been deriving this life cycle? Your nest. And life cycle has been derived into 4 phases. Phase number 1, preparation. Phase number 2, detect and analyze. Phase number 3, containment, eradication and recovery. Phase number 4, post incident activity. These are your 4 phases. Now, what are these four? All the 4 phases I've been saying. In the phase number 1, into the step number 1, what we are going to do? In preparation, we are going to identify. This is your preparation phase, the first phase. So what we are going to do? We are going to prepare from what? From the attack. What we have a life cycle for it, for an incident response. Okay, so in that we have 4 phases. Again, that 4 phases have been derived by your nest. So in first phase we have preparation, second detection and analysis. In third phase we have containment, eradication, recovery. In fourth phase we have post incident activity. Okay, now first phase, what we are going to do? We are going to prepare ourselves. Okay, prepare ourselves. That means we are going to make our system resilient from an attack, from a different policies, from a different procedure, from putting some particular access control. We will going to harden the system. Okay, so that there should be no incident has been happened. Okay, along with that, we are going to set up a forensic lab as well to find out the evidence. That we are going to do incident preparation. Then in next phase, detection and analysis. Okay. In this, first we are going to identify it. Identify what? How that particular incident has been happened. We are going to check the alert. We are going to check what are the source, what are the IP logs for it, whether that particular thing, whether that IP log has been having the false positive report or the negative report. How much impact will be there for an organization if the incident has been happened or if the incident has already occurred. Okay, so in identification phase, we are going to do all those things. Okay, then we have containment, eradication, and recovery. So in containment, what we are going to do, we are going to isolate it. Let's suppose attack has been happened. We are going to isolate all the system in which the attack has been happened. Okay, along with that, what we are going to do, we are going to find out from the log sources that how this particular incident has been happened. We are going to disconnect all the device from the network. What was the goal of an attacker? We are going to limited that goal of an attacker. Okay, in eradication, what we are going to do, by the name you can guess it. Okay, so inside your dictionary, the eradication meaning is your removal. We are going to find out what was the root cause for this incident. What was the exact problem? We are going to remove that cause. After that, we are going to restore all the affected system. We are going to secure by applying different security configuration, by setting up the new particular uh, security logs, by installing different patches. Okay, along with that, we are going to do the monitoring as well, that how that particular thing has been happened, what was the source of it. We are going to check each and everything. Okay, then we have is your recovery and the post incident activity. Okay, now in post incident activity, what we are going to do, that what was the agenda of the attacker, what was the loophole for that particular attack. We are going to recover it from there. Okay, along with that, what we are going to do, we are going to work with your run book. So everything should be updated into one particular book, or you can say one particular file, that how that particular incident has been happened, everything should be updated over here. Okay, so let's suppose incident has been happened, attack has been happened to an organization, how that attack has been happened, what was the root cause, after that what we have done to prepare ourselves, to secure ourselves, how we bring all the devices back into an online, how the data has been recovered, everything should be updated over here. So on to the next time, if any incident has been happened, we can look into this. Okay, so we are going to check what was the root cause for it, which given by your incident response. Okay, now next thing, we are going to find out how the attack has been done, how the hacker is been doing an attack. We have a phase for it, we have a steps for it. Okay, we have a framework for it, cyber kill chain attack framework. Okay, now this framework, this kill chain attack framework will tell you the steps of an attack that has been taken. Okay, so what we have at the step number 1, reconnaissance. Step number 2, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, action on objective. Okay, now we have 7 step over here. It's a mimic that this is the stages of your pen testing as well. If you want to perform a pen test, again we follow this thing. Okay, now who was the creator of this? This particular chainwork cyber kill chain framework was been created by the Lockheed Martin. Okay, now from where this particular word has been coming? This word has been coming from your World War II. In World War II, we have a kill chain framework by the name of an F2T2EA. Okay. Now, before to that, we have 4F that has been going on. That it is previously the terminology was being denoted by the 4Fs. F, 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 and F. Okay. Now, at the first step, what we are going to do? Reconnaissance. We are going to try to find out to gather the information about the target, personal computer, personal thing like your email, your supply chain. Okay. So is that particularly really connected to any particular supply chain? After that, once we have the information, then we are going to move into a second step, that is your weaponization. Okay. In weaponization, what we are going to do? Once we have the information, once we have all those things, we are going to create our weapon so we can attack. So we can use that particular payload. There are different kind of malware, the code which we want to execute into the target system. Okay, so we are going to prepare that particular malware. Once that malware is been prepared, we want that malware to be delivered. How we are going to do that? By a social engineering attack, we can do it, isn't it? Via email, web, USB. I simply I simply upload my payload into an USB and I throw that USB in front of your organization this main building. Along with that, if I throw that particular USB into your this parking lot, if anyone is not aware of security, he picks that particular pen drive and try to plug in into his system. What will happen? Straight away, that payload will get deployed into his system, isn't it? So once my weapon has been created, I will try to deliver my weapon. Again, with a social engineering attack, I will try to send it over an email. You have won the lottery. Click on this link to claim for your reward. Okay. So once it has been sent, that need to be exploited. Okay. So next phase is your exploitation. Now, after that, in exploitation, what has been done? Now the code which has been sent into the target system that need to be executed. Okay. Now this will be the phase where the attacker will try to trick the user and he will try to run the code into the user system. So the code will run into the system and he can have an access to it. Okay. So exploitation has been sent. Malware has been installed into an asset into that particular system. What that particular hacker or what that particular attacker is going to have. Command and control over to the system. Code has been written, code has been state, code has been established. Now we have an command and control to the system. Okay, so we have multiple tools to perform an attack to which will be supporting that particular this you can say the exploit. So we can use all those payload to have an access to the system. Okay, once we performed our attack, now what is the last thing has been saying? Action on objective. Okay, now attacker attacked into the system. Now he can do whatever he want to do from that particular system. He can collect the information. He can collect the data. He can transfer it. He can have a remote access to the system. Okay, what was the objective behind this? To have the information, to collect all the data, to exploit it. Okay, that was the objective. And what was the action he took? He used a payload. Okay, this is your cyber kill chain attack framework. If you can say this is the steps how the attacker has been performing. This is the step how the pen tester has been performing. We cannot straight away go into the step number 3. We have to follow each and every step. If I want to perform a pen test, first I need to collect an information, isn't it? I have the information. After that, I will be using some tools, some techniques to attack into the system, isn't it? To attack into the network. So these are the phase which we are going to follow. These are the phase which that particular attacker is also going to follow. Next, we are going to discuss about a social engineering attack. Okay. Now, what is a social engineering attack? It's a psychological manipulation of a people into performing action or divulging that confidential information. Okay. Again, it's a common target to perform a social engineering attack. So what we are doing, we are simply collecting more and more information by doing a social engineering attack. So what is a social engineering attack? Basically, it's an art to manipulate the people to give up the confidential information. So this is the type for an information collector, for an attacker to seek into any individual or to the target or to the attack. Okay, we are tricking that particular user to give that to collect the password, to collect the company information over the computer by sending a secret, by sending any particular mail, by installing any malicious software. Okay, so we use this social engineering techniques. And what are the different types of social engineering we can use? Okay, now in phishing attack, what we are going to do, we are simply gonna send an email, or you can say this is been done over the phone as well. This has been done into your by sending any particular text message as well. So if I want to perform this phishing attack, what I will be doing, I will be sending an email to you. Okay, and I will be stating that I am sending the email from a bank. Let's suppose if you are having a bank account into XYZ bank. From XYZ bank, I will be crafting an email pretending that I am from an XYZ employee, bank employee, and will be saying that you have received, there is a transaction has been done from other account into your account. And so there is a pending payment to be credited in your account of $100, you can say, or you can say almost often 10,000 rupees. Okay. Now to claim this amount, just click on this link and fill all the details. So the amount will get credited in your account. So what you are going to do, if you are not aware about this particular security, simply going to check or simply going to visit that website, isn't it? If you click on that website, if you fill all the details straight away, those details will get traced into the user system, into that particular attacker system. Okay, now that attacker will gonna take the advantage from that user detail and gonna manipulate. Okay, so that's what your phishing attack is here. Okay, then we have your smishing. Okay, now the smishing has been done via an SMS. Okay, again, can you see the example over here? Malicious message has been sent. Again, I sent a message this time pretending that I am talking from a bank, XYZ bank. I am a manager of the internet bank. If you want to claim for this particular amount, click on this link. That is your smishing attack, which has been done via SMS. Then we have a wishing. Okay, now wishing, you can say it's a combination of both voice and your phishing. It has been done over a telephone. The technique what the attacker will be using, he will be spoofing the caller ID. He will try to perform an attack. He will try to pretend that I am been talking from this organization. Will be contacting over the phone and will try to collect an information from one phone. Okay. that what is your wishing attack has been done. Then we have is your shoulder surfing. Okay. Now, again, the shoulder surfing refers to the act of an obligation for the personal, or you can say the private information which has been directly observed. I'm sitting into my desk, I'm accessing some of the account. Let's suppose I'm trying to log in into any particular website or any particular web server. Someone has been walking by and simply sniff into my system, into my monitor, while I'm typing the username and password. Now he has seen the username and password. He can simply try to log in into that account with the help of that. That is your shoulder surfing. I'm not very much aware that someone has been standing behind me. Okay. So always remember, whenever you are doing this, whenever you are typing into any particular personal information, have a look and try to particularly put their input only after looking into that. If someone has been not been monitoring, that's great. Try to give your input during that time. Next we have is your piggybacking. Okay. Now piggybacking is what? When an unauthorized person is been following an authorized person. Where he has been following? He's been following inside and secure, or you can say inside and restricted area. Okay. Let's suppose everyone over here are working into the same organization. One fine day, I visit into your organization. I stand in front of your gate, and someone has been passing by. I simply say, "Today I forgot my ID card. I'm into an HR department." And actually, there is some person by the name of an Abhishek. He has been sitting into an HR department. Now I will be pretending that I am that particular person. Will you take me along with you? It will be a great help. Okay, so what I am doing? I am simply pretending that I am an authorized person. I simply forgot my ID patch at home. Help me to have an access. And from whom I am particularly asking an access? From an already authorized person. Intentionally I am doing this, and that authorized person is also aware that I am an asking a help from him. That is your piggybacking. Okay, now if this is a piggybacking, then what is an tailgating then? So tailgating is what? When an unauthorized person follows an authorized person into an secured or into an restricted area without the consent. Yes. So he sneaks inside the organization without the awareness of anyone within the organization. You are entering inside an organization. I am standing behind you and I am just been following you, and you are not very much aware that someone along with you entered inside this organization. That is your tailgating. The next way we have is your impersonation. Now, what is an impersonation then? One fine day, I called you that I am from this organization already existing in your organization. I want your detail to be filled into our HR department. Okay, we are updating the policies. We are updating some of the security controls. So we need your details again. Can you please give me all your details, your email address, along with that, your home address, along with that, your phone number, along with that. We have a bank account in which particular bank you have been holding an account. We are having in our organization, we have been impaneled with 4 banks. So in which particular bank you are having your salary account. Okay, so we'll try to gain the information, pretending over here I'm been pretending that I am someone else to collect the information. Okay, so always be very much careful while sharing the data, while sharing the details. Always try to remember that into the this environment. Be secure, be secure, be safe. Never share your details with anyone. And never share your personal information as well to anyone. Okay. Now, next we have is your USB key drop. So what we are doing, we have been loading up this USB with a malware. What that malware has been doing, it has been creating a backdoor or it has been doing a keylogger. So simply dropping a KSP into the parking lot or near to your organization. So victim can particularly use it. He particularly, what suppose if he used that pen drive into his system straight away. He's into my attack. He's into my radar. I have the backdoor entry. Okay. Now these are some of your social engineering attack which has been done, okay, which is measurably be done. So always be aware whenever you click into any of the link, whenever you particularly receive any particular SMS as well, if you find any particular device as well, so always be aware of it. Never click into any malicious link, never click into any particular messages as well. Ignore all those things. How much tempting the message can be, how much tempting the mail can be. It is just trying to collect an information. If you click onto the link, it is going to create a some disaster for you. Okay, so always be aware and always along with that, try to inform this within your premises, with your friends, with your family as well. Give this information to them as well about the security. So these small things will going to help you out. Next thing we're gonna discuss about is your malware. Now what is in malware? So always remember, mal means malicious, ware means software. A malicious software which intends to harm. Okay. Malicious software that disable or damages the computer system and give limited or full control to the attacker. Okay. So what are the components of malware? Scripter, downloader, dropper, injector, exploit, payload, okay, obfuscator, we have a packer, we have a malicious code. So these are the components of malware. Now, what are the different types of malware we can use? Okay, the first virus was been created by the name of a creeper. Okay, now what are the working of a virus? Virus cannot replicate in network. It replicate only into a system. Okay, what if my system has been affected with a virus and along with that there are other 10 system has been connected into the same network. Now, if my system has been affected and there are other system as well connected into the same network, now this virus will never gonna travel through the network. Okay, if I plug in some USB into this particular system and again I use the same CSB into the system, now the virus is going to travel it. It is not going to replicate into the network. Okay, we have an worm. Now, this worm can replicate into the network. Okay, if my system has been affected with a worm, now that all the device which has been connected into the same network, all the device will get infected because worm has a working condition that it replicate to the network. Okay, we have a Trojan. Okay, Now what this Trojan has been doing? It is going to give an backdoor access. Okay, we have spyware as well. Now what does spyware do? Now always remember, spyware is going to attack your browser. It's a browser specific. Okay, it is going to steal the information from your browser, all your history, all your cache. That's a browser specific. Okay, we have a ransomware. What is a ransomware? Attacker is going to encrypt the data and ask for an ransom. Okay, now that encrypted data, anyone can use it. Let's suppose in an organization, ransomware attack has been done. Attacker has encrypted the data. Will any employee is going to have an access to that data? No, has been encrypted. Okay, now in order to deliver this particular malware, we have one more thing, that is your wrapper. Okay, so what I will be doing, if I want to send any particular malware, and if that particular malware will get detected over an uh, be detected by an antivirus, so what I will be doing, I will be simply delivering this malware along with some other file. I will be wrapping the malware with something which can be encoded, which can bypass the defenses. Okay, simply I will be hiding this file behind other file. That is what your wrapper do. Okay, now we have different ways for malware to enter into your system. So what are the ways? So by sending that any particular message with your Insta Messenger application, or by using any particular portable hardware, media, or by using a removable device, I can send a malware. Along with that, what is it? Worm and about an spyware. It's a browser specific. Okay, simply sending a particular malware over an email, over a software, over a bug sending and bug particularly from a software. Okay, along with that, with your insecure patch management, email attachment, network programming, file sharing service, malware can be transferred along with a Bluetooth wireless network. So I can send that particular malware into your system. If we are talking about a malware, let's simply quickly discuss about an virus as well. Now there are different types of an virus. Okay, so we have macro virus. Now what this particular virus do? Macro virus, it's going to infect all your MS Office file. When I say macro virus, that means it is going to affect only the MS Office files. Multipatite virus. Okay, so when we are talking about a multipatite virus, this virus will going to affect your MBR, master boot recorder. Okay, along with that, we have file extension virus. What they do, they are going to infect any particular file type. Let's say I want to block, I want to encrypt a PDF file, or exe file, it is going to affect that particular file type, the particular extension. Okay, so these are some of your virus, and if you want to see, we can create some of the virus as well. Let me quickly show you how that has been done as well. I have an particular VM for it already prepared, so let me just power on that machine first. Okay, so let me quickly create one or two virus. Let me tell you how that has been done. So again, if I'm showing you anything, only use this for the study purpose. So don't misuse all this thing. Don't share it with, don't send this particular thing to anyone, create a virus and sending it to anyone. No, just use it only for the particular study purpose. And if you are doing it in your system, always try to do inside your VM. Okay, create a machine, try to make it inside them. If that particular virus, if you are making it into your this local machine, it is going to create a problem. Your file will get deleted, your OS will get corrupted. Okay, if you are trying to do that, create a VMware, inside a VMware, install a new machine and try to execute all those things inside that. Create an environment. So let me go ahead and try to make some. So again, it's a one-liner code which we will be doing on. So for that, first I will be required a text file. Okay, so again, it's a one-liner code. First, I want to create any particularly uh, extension file. Okay, let's suppose I want to block all the exes. Okay, so what I will be doing, let me write a code for it. That's it. Okay, let's go ahead and save this thing. We'll be saving into a bat file, that is your executable file. Okay, file has been saved. Now, if I open any particular exe, I can use it. Let's suppose if I want to open WordPad, it has been opening. If I want to open any particular calculator as well, perfectly working fine as of now. Let's go ahead and try to run this. Okay. Now, I particularly run this file. Now, anything happened? So let me again try to open all this exe again. First, let me go ahead, try to open this command prompt. Nothing happening. Try to open this WordPad. Nothing happening. Try to open the calculator. Nothing happening. So all the exes have been corrupted. I cannot use it. Everything has been corrupted. What if I want to use it? Can I revert it back? Everything has been gone. I cannot operate any particular exe. If I want to work, if I want to use it, nothing has been operational. Okay, but I can revert it. I can simply change the code. Can you see? Okay, to revert it back, we simply use the code. We simply change the code. Okay, so we can create n number of virus by this code. Okay, so we have n number of code as well. So if you want a particular file to be this particular corrupted, if I want to corrupt this OS as well, this particular operating system as well, I can do that. Again, it's a 5-liner code. By that code, simply I'm going to corrupt this whole operating system. If I want to create any particular loop, I can do that as well. Okay, if I want to corrupt any particular MS Office file, I can do that as well. Simply a one-liner code. With the help of that, we can change the function of that particular code. Okay, so we can simply play around with this. We can simply create it. We can simply use it for the study purpose down the line. That's why I said, whatever you do, create a VMware. Inside a VMware, try to install any new operating system and play inside that operating system. If anything happened, it is going to affect that particular operating system, not to your base machine. Okay. So we have multiple malwares. We have antivirus, again, working as a malware. We have seen the working of that, what my malware can do with your system, what malware can do with your network as well. So always be aware with that, with all the program, with all that particular link. Okay, so whenever you see such kind of malicious thing, try to avoid it. Okay, and again, let me show you one more thing. If you find, if you see any particular link has been received, always try to use this particular URL, this particular website. So over here, you can simply paste the URL and it will give you the information of that URL, whether that URL is in malicious or not. Okay, it's a good website, Virus Total. It will give you a good result. So whenever you want to visit any particular URL, or let's say in your email you receive any particular URL, check inside this virus total. It will give you an information that this URL is in malicious or not, or it's in safe or not. Let's suppose I go with this website. It will give me the information. Can I see? Malicious. If I go with google.com, clean, CMD threat, malicious, but the rest of the thing, clean. Okay, it's a very good website. If you want to use it, you can use this thing. Try using this. If you receive any particular email or any particular link over an email, just check about this link, about that link, and it will give you a complete information. Now that information has been captured from different domains. Okay, along with that certificate, they are going to check whether that particular website has been holding a certificate or not. It is going to check from there as well. It will give you a good information. Okay, so we have particularly completed our agenda for the day. Okay, inside our agenda, we had discussed about few things, that is your social engineering attack, incident response, firewall, weak cost configuration, policies, incident response, cyber kill chain, social engineering. Okay, so this was things we had discussed